Hi guys, I know it's been a long time since my last video. I've just been waiting for my tripod to arrive so that I could do this video in a little bit better light. You can actually get a little bit better idea of what the shoe actually looks like, and really just I can actually use it now without any problems. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing. So I've got an unboxing of something quite special for you today. It's well, let's have a look at what it is. So we have got the Nike Mercurial Superfly Firm Ground Edition in Hyper Punch / Gold Black. So first things first, when you open up the box, you get a drawstring bag that you get with every high-end Nike football boot. So this one's a Hyper Punch colour with black drawstrings, as you can see here. And it's got a black Nike logo on the back, and on the front you've got a black Nike football logo. So we'll just put that to one side and continue. Okay. So the only other thing you get inside the box is the boot themselves. So let's just pop them out. We've got a little bit of tissue paper as well. Okay, there we go. Just put that to one side. Okay, so here you've got the Nike Mercurial Superfly 4s in the Hyper Punch colour. This is the launch colourway, and it's specially made for the World Cup, so really they were the World Cup edition, as they're unofficially known. So let's just go through the colourway quickly. So what you've got here is you've got a Hyper Punch base. Now it's not the same as the Mercurial Vapor 10s, which have a solid Hyper Punch like this colour just here. The Superflies actually have a mixture of Hyper Punch and Volt. So they've got two different types of thread. If I bring it closer you'll be able to see. So they've got kind of Hyper Punch thread and Volt threads in between. So it gives it kind of a more orangey look. They're definitely not orange, they are still pinkish with an orange tinge. So that is the colour of your upper. On the dynamic fit collar you've actually got this black accent here. And a little cool thing about this is if you actually stretch it over your finger, you can actually see the perforations, and there's Volt underneath. So I thought that was a little cool addition. On the back here you've got the Mercurial logo. Sorry about the lighting. As you can see I haven't got it perfect yet, but you've got the Mercurial logo here in black. And on the front you've got a Nike swoosh, which is a Volt colour, and it's got a gold coin, kind of a reflective glittery accent to it as well, like a pattern inside. With a black outline. Your laces are Hyper Punch as well, they're the same Hyper Punch Volt kind of threading in there. And on the side you've got your ACC logo in black, and then you've got the same Nike swoosh colours as you do on the front here on your instep / heel. If we turn over to the sole plate, you can see it's a complete carbon fibre sole plate, and on top of that then you've got this moulded plastic stuck onto it. You've got a Volt Nike swoosh in the forefoot, and you can see the studs in the forefoot here actually have Volt accents as well, and you've got a stud here with a Volt accent, and on the heel you've got 4 studs, 2 with Volt accents, and those are the studs on the outside of your foot if you were wearing it. So all in all, I think it looks pretty good. I prefer these to the black Stealth Edition ones. I've actually got an unboxing of those as well, so I'll put a link in the video, and it'll take you to that unboxing if you want to have a look at that. But let me know what you think. Do you prefer these? Do you prefer the black ones? Yeah, let me know. So if we look at the upper now, it's actually, like I said, not a solid Hyper Punch. It's Hyper Punch with Volt accents in it. So there's actually, you can tell there's two colours of thread. There's a Volt coloured thread and a Hyper Punch colour thread. So your shoe still looks quite in that Hyper Punch colour, but it has got a little bit of that orange tinge to it because of the two colours mixing. And like I said, this is a launch colourway. It might look slightly different than it does on the online pictures. If you've had a look at any of the retailers that are doing these shoes, you might think that they're a bit more orange here than they are on the website. On the websites they tend to look red, and these are more pinky and more orangey. But I can assure you these are the ones that you're going to get. These are the retail versions, and this is the actual colour they're going to be. Now the reason why you might have seen pictures which look slightly different to these ones is because before the launch Nike usually send out pre-production samples to retailers, and then what the retailers will do is they'll take pictures of them and send them back. That's just so that they can have pictures ready for when the product's launched, so they don't have to, you know, have that delay waiting for pictures. They've got the pictures there and then. But like I said, these are the actual boots you're going to get, so these are the retail version. It's made in Bosnia, and actually the Flyknit itself feels really, really good. As you can tell, it's really, really soft to the touch. I've actually got the tissue paper inside the boot as well, so it might not look that soft, but it is really, really soft. I'm literally just kind of resting my finger on it, and you can see it's just totally molding to the shape of my finger and my thumb. But the fact that it's made in Bosnia is slightly more reassuring. It's not made in Vietnam or anything like that. Some of them are actually made in Italy as well, so you know you're getting good quality manufacturing here. Like I said, it's more of an orangey pink than a red, but I think that's actually works in favour of the boot. I think red is quite a common colour, whereas this is something totally different. So, like I said, your laces are also the Flyknit colour. Are made of Flyknit. They feel quite thin, but that actually is a good thing in this case. The reason why is they don't really get in your way when you're making contact with the ball, when you're shooting, or when you're crossing, anything like that. They won't actually get in the way as much, and they're really, really soft as well. And they do a good job, because when you put your foot in, the shoe actually feels like it's locked down already, just because you've got this kind of slightly more elasticated version of the Flyknit here, and I'll go into that in just a little minute. But yeah, that feels really, really good as well. Like I said, you've got this dynamic fit collar. Now the purpose of this really is to take away any seams or any kind of ending to the boot here, which usually is the case with most boots. It just kind of continues it upwards, so it gives you a more seamless feel, seamless finish. I think that works really, really well. It definitely does feel a little bit different to what most people might be used to, but I think it's different in a good way, and it doesn't really affect your touch on the ball at all. So if you're worried about that, don't be. So the Flyknit upper is actually what Nike calls a machine knit upper. It's really good quality, and it's quite durable, contrary to what most people might have thought. I mean, I know there's been a lot of criticism about this shoe because people think that because it's made out of, you know, a woven knit, it's going to be quite flimsy or not very durable, and I can tell you straight off the bat that's not the case. It's machine knit, so it's actually what Nike says 3 knit construction, and what I kind of make of that is it's got 3 different layers. I mean, it's not very thick at all. If I show you this, I've actually got the little piece of cardboard in there already, but this isn't very thick at all. It's quite a thin material, so 3 layers sounds about right. And it's actually very solid and very durable. Now, a lot of people have had kind of criticism. There's been a lot of questions about the fact that it's fly knit. So, you know, is it going to attract dirt? Is it going to let water seep through? And the answer to that is no. So let me explain why. As you can see here, the boot has 2 different finishes to it. So up here you've got the fly knit, and it hasn't really got any kind of coating on it at all, so it feels just like a sock would. But as you come past down below the ankle, you can see all of this, which is more of a waxy finish. Now what this is what Nike call Nike Skin, and basically it's a covering of polyurethane, which is a type of plastic, and what they do is they kind of lay it over the fly knit and kind of fuse it onto it, which acts more like a membrane. Now what that does is it just makes your boot impermeable to water, so no water is going to seep through here at all. So the whole of that is actually quite durable and quite solid. And yeah, holding it in your hand, you can feel that quality from it. The only issues you might have with water seeping through is here, just below the laces, and that's because this doesn't actually have that kind of polyurethane finish to it. There's no Nike Skin on here, and that's kind of just to give you a more elasticated, better fit really through that area of the foot. So you can tell there's no tongue here at all. It's just that actual fly knit material which makes up that one piece upper really. And yeah, this Nike Skin area is a little bit more stiff compared to this. This is just like a short sock, and it will just flop around on its own accord, whereas this will keep its structure a little bit more. And that works really well, because here you don't really want the shoe to stretch too much, whereas this area, when you're playing, you want it to conform to the shape of your ankle, and it does that really well. Yeah, it's really good shoe. What I would say is a lot of people have thought this is a really thin upper, and yes it is, but it's not as thin as the Vapor 10 or the Vapor 9s. It's not as thin as that Tasian synthetic. But I don't think that's a bad thing, because ideally at the end of the day you want your shoe to be as durable as possible, and this feels very durable. And a lot of people, you know, they don't really care too much about the weight of the shoe. It is a little bit heavier, around the 7-pound mark. Having said that, this actually gives you a much closer feel to the ball, so it's got a much closer fit on your foot, and it gives you kind of a seamless feel with the ball. More like a barefoot feel, and it's a really good feeling. And like I showed you before, you actually do get ACC or conditions control on this boot as well, like you do with all high-end Nike shoes. And what that is really is just an extra coating which is infused into the membrane, and that is basically a wet control element, so it just gives you a little bit better friction on the ball in the wet. yeah, so you do get ACC on this if you were wondering. And the boot itself fits really, really well. It feels really good to wear. And we'll go into that towards the end of the video as well. The sole plate itself is a carbon fiber sole plate. So it's not the same as the fiberglass sole plate on the Vapor 9 or the glass nylon on the Vapor 10s. This is actually carbon fiber. It does feel a little bit more flexible in my opinion, but not by much. That's good because it will be a little bit more comfortable, while still, giving you that responsiveness on the ball. Responsiveness when kicking off even. But on the whole, it seems very, very solid and stable, and it feels very natural and more responsive due to the thinner carbon fiber here. I think it's 2 layers as opposed to 3 on the previous Superflies, and it looks really, really good, and you can see that with the light. You can actually see the individual fibers in the carbon fiber sole plate. So you've got a new stud configuration for this, and you've got this extra stud here which you didn't have in the previous versions of the Vapors or the Superfly. I think it works really, really well. It gives you a really natural traction on the ball. They're not as sharp as the previous Vapor studs, but I think that makes it more stable in a way. And then here through the midfoot you've actually got a Y shape, and what that does is just really firms up the midfoot here for you, so it's just going to give you a more responsive feel on the ball. And then they've reverted back to the 4 stud configuration for this shoe, like you do with the previous Superflies. So on the Vapor 9s and the Vapor 8s as well, I believe, you had 2 studs in the heel, so 1 on each side, and now you've actually got 4. I think it feels a lot more stable, but they don't dig into the ground as much, so it might not be quite as responsive, or give you as much traction, but you really don't notice that on feet. So yeah, I mean, the sole plate, again, Nike have pulled it off again. It's a really, really good quality sole plate here, and as I said before, this is the firm ground edition. You do get it in a soft ground pro edition as well, and you also get an artificial grass version as well. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the Brio cables and the fit. So here you can see in the upper you've actually got these, what Nike call Brio cables, similar to the previous Superfly Flywire. And what they are is they're basically just cables going from your sole plate all the way up to the lace holes. And what that does is basically when you tighten your laces, it's going to pull on them and bring them closer together here at the top. It's just going to give you a really good tight fit on the ball, on the foot, and it really does work. So the fit of these shoes, it's actually quite a tight fit. I like how it feels on the heel. It's very, very tight and secure, so it keeps your heel pushed up against this heel counter, internal heel counter in the back. It's not a very large heel counter, but it does do the job really well. I think it's a plastic. And then in the midfoot here, it feels a lot closer to the foot, so it gives you that kind of barefoot feeling here as well. And then in the front, in the forefoot and toe box area, you can feel it's not as tight. I think that's because it's got a predetermined shape, so it might suit some foot shapes better than others. But on the whole, it would suit a more narrow foot. But as long as you don't have too wide feet, you should be okay, because this portion of the upper will stretch. The Nike skin portion won't really stretch very much. But on the whole, it's a really good fit. In terms of sizing, I would say it runs about a half a size long. So I went from my usual size, I went down half a size, just to get a really nice close feel on the ball. Otherwise, you do get a little bit of room here in the toe box, and it doesn't, it doesn't detract from it too much, but I would definitely say go down a size in order to get the best fit. But it really depends on how you like your shoes to fit. But I think on the whole, a really, really good shoe. Just one last thing on the durability issue. Inside, I can't actually show you this because of the lighting, but you've actually got a little, or you might be able to see it just there, that grey portion on the right hand side. Basically what you've got here is it's an internal support cage which is glued on to the the Flyknit, and it does work really, really well. It just provides an extra kind of layer there which gives structural integrity to the boot when you're making hard cuts. And it actually does work. So it really does help in terms of durability of the boot, and I think people will find that this boot will actually last them a lot longer than they think. And personally, I prefer this boot to the black version of the Superfly 4s. I haven't tried out the Magistas yet, and I'm working on getting them in for review. But I really do love the colorway of these. I like how they fit on the feet. One thing I forgot to mention is that they retail for £230 in the UK directly from Nike. You can find them a little bit cheaper online sometimes, but it's quite difficult. On the whole, I would suggest going to Nike, trying them on, because you can try them on, and actually in the Nike store in London you can actually play in them. They've actually got a whole host of boots that you can try out, and you can actually go in this little cage that they have and play around with them and see if you like the fit. So I would suggest that if you've got time, or if you're in London. I don't know whether other Nike stores have that, but on the whole, a brilliant shoe. It feels really natural on the foot. I would recommend it to everyone. The only people who really wouldn't be able to get away with wearing this are people with extremely wide feet, because you'll find that you're just stretching the midfoot area too much, and your foot just won't feel comfortable in it at all. But apart from that, you should have no issues with it. If there's anything I might have left out of this video, just let me know, and I'll do my best to answer any questions that you have. Best way to do that is just any questions you have, leave them in the comments below. Let me know what you think of these shoes. Personally, I really love them. I've ordered another pair so that I can keep these and I can play in the other pair. I might actually end up selling these, but I really love the shoe and I can't praise it enough. But what do you guys think? Do you prefer the Hyper Punch colour? Do you prefer the black stealth black colourway? Let me know, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more of the latest updates.